right.
Hey.
Friday Junior.
Yeah.
Almost
That's
there.
what it is.
Almost there.
Friday Eve, Thursday.
Right? You just keep counting down.
And it's
That's
condensed.
adulthood.
Labor Day.
Just keep counting.
I got it.
You know. Thank you so much for joining us here for KARE 11 News at noon. There's a lot to get to today. We're talking about a more convenient way for women to test for cervical cancer and a very special honor for the woman known as the mother of the Minneapolis Sound. But first, Cece, you're on our top story today.
I am. Yeah, unfortunately, there was another deadly shooting overnight, making this the 5th in just a week, so a lot to get caught up on there.
Absolutely. And before we get into that, let's check in with Ben of this gorgeous weather
Yes,
outside.
we had a cold front move through last night. We did see a little bit of rainfall, and you can see the outline of that front now pushing across eastern Wisconsin. We are on the backside of this system, and officially, I believe, 1/100th of an inch of rain fell at MSP, so it really wasn't a bunch of rain. And you can see we are seeing a partly cloudy sky right now. And notice up in north central Minnesota, closer to the Iron Range, a couple of stray showers there. You might notice a spotty shower this afternoon. The next couple of afternoons we might see that, but it does look like most of us will dry out the rest of the day. Now after that front passed, you can see the wind has turned from the northwest, still breezy with a northwest wind between 10 and 15 miles per hour, and that's helping to pull in some cooler temperatures. Now right now, it's not that cool. Still 75 degrees, which is pretty much on par with where we were at yesterday. But notice up in northwest Minnesota, temperatures are about 15 degrees cooler. And again, with that northwest breeze, that's helping to pull in those cooler conditions. So especially Friday and Saturday, that's when our taste of fall is really going to be felt. Outside right now, some of that hazy sunshine. There still is a little wildfire smoke out right now, but that will dissipate throughout the day. So good news there. And again, temperatures holding pretty steady in the mid 70s today. We'll talk about that cooling trend and when those summer temperatures actually return to the forecast coming up, Alexis.
Ben, thank you. A series of shootings in Minneapolis multiplied overnight. There were 2 cases reported and 1 turned deadly. That makes 5 deadly shootings in less than a week. Cece, I know that you've been working on this story while a lot of us were sleeping. What are police saying?
Yeah, just a really busy time for investigators. And when we talked with police overnight, they said this is extremely concerning. You'll remember 24 hours ago, Chief Brian O'Hara said this is a challenging time for investigators. Let's get into how things played out last night. So the first shooting happened around 10:30 near 19th and Nicollet Avenue. That's the same area where someone was shot and killed about 36 hours ago. 2 women were shot and arrived at the hospital separately. No word yet on how they're doing this afternoon, though. The second shooting happened just before midnight near the intersection of 15th and Portland. Police tell us when they got to the scene, they found a man on a sidewalk with serious gunshot wounds. Officers and EMS attempted life-saving efforts, but the man did die at the scene. Police believe there may have been an argument before the shooting happened, but they're still investigating that.
We're going to do everything we can to pinpoint those individuals who are in that community, in that neighborhood, causing the harm. We're concerned for the neighbors, for the people that live there, and we're going to do everything we can to bring people to justice.
Yeah, and we're told the suspect took off before police even got there. At this point in the afternoon, no arrests have been made yet, but if you know about what happened, police want you to reach out to Crime Stoppers.
Cece, thank you. And we're learning new information now about both the suspect and the victims of yesterday's deadly high school shooting in Georgia. The 14-year-old suspect was a student at the school and was on the FBI's radar just last year. We're also hearing from authorities that an AR-15 style rifle was used, but we don't have any more information about how the teen could have gotten that weapon or what his potential motive could be.
My heart hurts for these kids. My heart hurts for our community, but I want to make it very clear that hate will not prevail.
We also know that there are 4 deceased victims. 2 of them are 14-year-old students. 2 are math teachers. The remaining 9 victims are being treated in hospitals. 8 of them are students. 1 is a teacher. They are all expected to survive. Today, Park Tavern is open again. Just 24 hours ago, they welcomed people back into their venue while still mourning 2 deaths from a vehicle crash into their patio. Michelle Beck shows us how 2 groups of people came together to remember their friends.
Gabe Harvey's funeral is set for today. Christina Folkert's funeral is set for next week. The Park Tavern, where Christina worked, reopened yesterday without one of its beloved employees. Reopening certainly wasn't easy. Only 4 days ago, a suspected drunk driver had rammed through the restaurant's patio as it was full of people. With lives lost and 9 hurt, grief counselors were at the Park Tavern before an all-staff meeting, which, by the way, no one was required to work yesterday. Meanwhile, the restaurant hosted employees at nearby Methodist Hospital. They, too, are grieving the loss of one of their own.
To know Gabe is to be Gabe's friend, and it became you could not exclude anyone who knew Gabe. And the whole hospital is grieving, so it's doctors, nurses, nursing assistants, lab, HUCs, it's all disciplines of the hospital, all here.
KARE 11 also spoke with Gabe's partner, who told us the couple had recently bought a home and were even planning a wedding together. Also an update on some of the people hurt. 3 of the nurses who we know worked with Gabe at Methodist Hospital. We know that 2 are in serious condition, 1 of them in fair condition, all 3 of them still at the hospital. In St. Louis Park, Michelle Beck, KARE 11 News.
The man accused of being behind the wheel made his first court appearance in the last 24 hours. The courtroom was filled with both his family members and family members of the victims. Stephen Bailey's attorney released a statement saying, quote, "We understand what happened. We understand the loss, and it's horrible." Although KARE 11 confirmed that Bailey has 5 DWIs, his lawyer argued that his client is not a threat to the public. Prosecutors disagreed, saying he denied having an alcohol problem in the pretrial assessment. The judge set bail at $500,000 with conditions. With a little over a month until the trial of Adam Frabel begins, new details are coming out in the Maddie Kingsbury murder case. Here's what we know.
I'm Lou Raguse. Adam Frabel, who's charged with killing his ex-girlfriend and mother of his 2 children, Maddie Kingsbury, was back in a Winona County courtroom for a 2-day hearing that wrapped up. The topic of the hearing was domestic abuse, and the judge heard testimony from several of Maddie's friends and family members who said that they heard stories from Maddie about the abuse she suffered at Frabel's hands, but that they didn't witness themselves. The judge will now determine before next month's trial whether the jury will be able to hear that testimony.
About an hour ago, we learned President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, may change his plea in a federal tax case. His lawyer says he plans to plead guilty just before jury selection was expected to begin. He's facing misdemeanor and felony charges after being accused of failing to pay nearly $1.5 million in taxes over 4 years. Right now, Governor Tim Walz is facing a subpoena. It's part of the House committee investigation into his handling of the Feeding Our Futures pandemic fraud. The Republican-led Education and Workforce Committee also subpoenaed the Minnesota Department of Education and the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They are demanding documents concerning any oversight of the nonprofit be handed over by September 18th. Meanwhile, CC is following today's campaign stops.
And that's right. The subpoena comes as Governor Walz continues on the campaign trail today in Pennsylvania. Later, he'll be joined by Vice President Harris for a rally in Pittsburgh. Former President Trump's campaign is closer to home, though, with an Agenda 47 policy tour event in Milwaukee. Trump himself will be in Wisconsin for a rally. That's on Saturday. And in less than 3 hours, President Joe Biden will be speaking in western Wisconsin. He has an event near La Crosse where he plans to highlight his administration's investments into local communities. So let's look at the latest polls. New data from NBC is giving us a better picture of what young voters think of each candidate. A new NBC News poll shows that Vice President Kamala Harris holds a significant lead over former President Trump. That's among Gen Z voters. The poll found half of those voters say they'll vote for Harris in November. 1/3 say they'll vote for Trump. As for VP picks, 55% in the poll say they view Governor Walz positively. That's compared to just 32% for Senator J.D. Vance. The poll also found that just under 7 in 10 Gen Z voters said the country is ready to elect a woman president. Now, when it comes to the issues, young voters say inflation and cost of living matter most to them, followed by threats to democracy and abortion.
We're following a couple of updates in the medical world, starting with flu and COVID vaccines. They're now available at CVS and Walgreens, and experts say either this month or next month is the best time to get them. This year's flu shots will protect against 3 flu viruses, and the COVID vaccine is targeting the strain that became dominant at the end of April. The shots can safely be taken together, but they say they take 2 weeks to take effect. Shipments begin today for a new way to test for cervical cancer. In May, the FDA approved a plan to have patients self-collect vaginal samples in a healthcare setting. That would mean you can skip undergoing pap smears or HPV tests that use a speculum. The process will be similar to collecting urine samples. Doctors believe it will make screenings more accessible and increase the chance of early detection. As the Paralympics continue, the U.S. is in third place on the medal count with a total of 69. And now some viewers want to know if athletes' guides get medals as well. Megan Bragg verifies.
For this, we went straight to the Paralympics committee to get our answers. The first official Paralympics took place in Rome in 1960. Originally, the games were reserved only for wheelchair athletes, but in 1976, it was expanded to include competitors with other forms of disabilities. That includes vision impairment. Athletes competing in track and field who are visually impaired are allowed to choose to run with or without a guide. According to the Paralympics, athletes' guides will get a medal if they win in track and field, para-triathlon, and paracycling. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.